All right, that's our forward vertical. The next route we want to talk about is mesh, and we see this on a daily basis. This is the one we work awful hard during the spring and summer on, because this seems to be where our offense always starts, and so we have to know how to defend this. And we've come up with a couple of pretty good rules for our linebackers, and we work on this in our summer drills almost daily. Whichever linebacker, and then I've got it drawn up where the low route's coming off the strong side. It could just as easily come off the weak side. But whichever inside linebacker has the low route, he's the one responsible for giving the in call. Now, when he gives the in call, he knows he's going to turn his low route over to his buddy, so he's got to flip his hips and look for a deeper number 2 coming from his buddy's side. So in this case, the buck is going to yell in, and flip and find the number 2 from the right side coming back to him. The rock linebacker, who now when the ball is snapped, sees a high hat out of the tackle, he starts to drop what appears to him to be a vertical line number 2. Now when he hears in, he knows he's getting a low route from the offside, so he's going to plant his foot in the ground, and he's going to redirect and drive back to his initial alignment to where he started from in order to collision that low route that gets to it. The dog linebacker is going to open and look for a dig route out of 1. Remember, he's a 1 to 2 guy, so he's going to see a vertical out of 1. He's going to redirect his head back inside and look for the dig out of 1, or look for an offside crossing route, deep crossing route out of number 2. Because he knows his number 2 is gone. Let me go ahead and play that. We'll play that through. And you see that the corner and the free safety only have 1 route. This is a prime example of the number 2. A number 2 has vacated the zone. So our corner on the left is slow pedaling. And then he's going to transition to a hard pedal. But in the meantime, he's reading number 2. You see numbers 2 on a low route away from him. He knows in his half the field, he should only have 1 deep threat, and that's number 1. So we want him to work outside leverage of number 1 in case we get the post flag. Now he's in great shape. The free safety is now, who is backpedaling, reading number 2, and he's number 2's flat. He now knows with pretty good certainty he's going to have a post route on top of him, because that's the route combination we always get with a low route coming from his side. So we're going to bracket the post with the corner and the free safety. And then the strong safety in the corner are going to actually bracket the post route back on the weak side. So when the thing stops, you can look and see the corner and the free safety bracketed the front side post, the backside strong safety and corner bracketed the backside post. The rock is dropped down to pick up the low route, and then the buck, who has redirected now to pick up the higher crossing route, is going to get some help, some light help out of the dog linebacker. So that's how we defend the mesh. And again, this is probably one of the first routes that our guys see in the spring and as we go through the summer, because this seems to be where our offense always installed. And until we get our linebackers' eyes in the right spot, we get their keys in the right spot, they eat us alive with this. This is a tough concept. And you can't stop this route. You can't stop this route with your safeties, because you do that, they're going to start throwing the post route on top of you. And then it puts your corners, if you're playing zone coverage, it puts them in a bad position to have to try to maintain inside leverage on the post route. So we would rather bracket the post and take away the deep balls with our deep guys, and then let our linebackers work the underneath, the low, and then we call the Cadillac route, or the deep drag. The next route is, and I have a series of these, scat, that's everybody's favorite from the NFL all the way down. Now they've got better athletes at their tailback positions, and they're releasing them out in space, game of the ball. It just turns out to be, if they can give them the ball, they're okay with that. If you cover all downfield routes and they throw the ball to a talented tailback in the flat, it's just like a toss sweep. He's already on the perimeter with the ball in his hand, and now the defense has to rally and tackle. So we have to be very disciplined in how we defend this. And as we start getting into these weak scat routes, first of all, let me qualify. If we're playing somebody that's going to do this a lot, all we have to do is to go ahead and declare our string to the side the back is on, which we do sometimes. Matter of fact, back in the summer, we did that. Our offense was a little ahead of where we were, and they were just eating us alive with some of this concept, so we just started declaring strength to the side the back was on, and now we outnumber them automatically and took away their whole concept. But for the first few days trying to work our kids through this, they weren't ready for it yet. So, but now most teams are going to they're going to run the scat away from your drop linebacker and try to get you to the man or the cover 2 side. That's their whole premise, is they want to outnumber you on the cover 2 side. So you got to have some help. Remember, your strong safety is a cover 2 safety. He's 10 by 1 and backpedaling and feathering to the sidelines when the ball snaps. That number 2 receiver is not running a vertical route. He's running a stick route about 12 to 14 yards, and they're reading the rock linebacker. You got the base of the corner and the rock linebacker for 3 routes. So we have to get some help from somewhere. So what we teach our buck linebacker now is to read the release on the snap of the tailback. He knows the tailback's weak. The tailback flares on his first step. He knows that the tailback flares, then he looks to number 2 to his side on his second step. If number 2 is going away from him, then we don't need him to the strong side. If number 2 is going away from him, then the dog linebacker can hold the curl and drive the quick wide if we need to do that. We need the buck linebacker's help on the weak side. So again, buck linebacker's key is first key is tailback. Tailback flare away. Second key is number 2 is away from me. I open my hips and work to the weak side and look for this stick route. Let me play this and show you what I'm talking about. Notice the corner's coming off late. Remember, the corner's in cover 2. The corner's got to hold that hitch route or that curl route until the rock can get there. Remember, it's a cover 2 side. It's a cover 2 side, so we're going to, and again, this is something we work on. Something we work on every day in practice. What the rock is going to do at first is the rock is going to try to sit on that stick route. And then we're going to have to attack with tailback in space. So we have to sometimes it takes us a couple of weeks to get the rock to understand that a weak side release, he should get some help out of his buddy, the buck linebacker. So it's okay to go ahead and pass that guy and walk all the way out to the curl and let the corner drop down on the flare late. The dog linebacker is going to hold the curl and make them throw the quick wide. We don't mind a 4-yard route. We try to teach our underneath curl the flat defenders that there's no offense in America that really wants to throw a 0 to 4-yard route. That's their route of last choice, or they're trying to get a sloppy defender to bite on it because they see it so they can throw a 12-yard route behind it. So again, it takes discipline out of your linebackers. And what we're going to find out in defending the 10 most modern day spread routes is much more linebacker involvement has to take place to be efficient at it. There's one version of scat. Now we're going to look at another one that they came up with. We started defending the one I just showed you. So now they came up with levels. This is Peyton Manning and the Colts, I think, is where this started. And they're running that number 1 receiver right at that rock. And he is the key. If the rock drops on the vertical, remember he's going to key to the cover 2 side. So if the rock drops with the vertical dig, they hit the slant all day long. If he stays on the slant, then they throw the dig all day long because the strong safety is feathering 10 by 1 out of there, and it becomes very cumbersome for him to try to get back to the dig. This is a definite cover 2 beater. And so if the corner plays the slant, then there's nobody in position to make a play on the tailback. So we had to spend a lot of time on this. So what we do now, anytime we get a slant route out of number 1 by our corner, that's the only time he really communicates with the linebackers. But this is one of the things that kind of breaks some of the the secondary linebacker rules as far as communicating. We've always taught our DBs, you only talk to each other. Linebackers, you only talk to each other. Again, these spread routes are making you change your thinking a little bit. So our corner now will communicate in. And our rock knows if he hears in from his outside that he's getting a slant route. So when the ball first snapped, he's seen a vertical out of number 2. He opens to wall and carry number 2. He hears in. He comes off the vertical and picks up the slant route. The strong safety, who now is getting a vertical out of number 2 as he begins to feather, here's the in call by the corner. He knows now he is manned up on number 2. Primarily, he's going to be a dig route. So we've had to learn to convert this coverage a little bit on the snap of the ball. And so watch how it's all played. And you'll notice that the rock linebacker began to wall and carry number 2, but then got an in call, so he comes off of that. And then drives the slant route. The rock starts to wall and then drives back down because the corner has given him an in call. The strong safety who starts to feather here's an in call, and knows now he has to come down and collision this number 2 receiver and play the dig or play the post flag or play the flag, whatever he's going to get.